Good afternoon, ladies, gents and Pikachus. A quick video about financial advice, which I'm not going to be giving you because I'm obviously not qualified for such things. And also, I just managed to get in trouble with my church for having told someone I have this plan to, make money when the economy starts hitting rocky roads, which I think it pretty much is going to do quite soon. So let's go from the top. First thing is, this is advice for someone who is relatively switched on, doesn't take silly risks for no reason, has an income, and likes to plan for the future to have money when everybody else becomes poor. Right, so that's what this is for. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. You're not going to make millions of pounds or dollars. You're certainly not going to accumulate lots of profit. There's not going to be that much profit in it. This is a way of storing current wealth that you already have in such a way that it doesn't decline in value when the economy bottoms out, right? Which it will. And we'll go through how that's going to work. Silly me, I'll tell you the funny story. I was in my church, I'm speaking to someone, and I said, what you can do is this thing, which I'm going to describe to you now, and then, you'll have a build-up of wealth. And I said, don't tell anyone, though, because when you got a build-up of wealth, when the economy crashes, if people know you have that build-up of wealth, guess what they do? That travels and people talk and you get robbed. So if you've got a build-up of wealth, maybe don't tell anyone about it apart from your family, your wife and daughter and your very close friends. Just don't tell anyone else. Then they don't know it's there. And my church were like, safeguarding issue, financial advice, telling people not to talk about it, and I got our ear ticking off. So but I think they understand, or certainly if they watch this video, that what I'm saying is A, not cloak and dagger as much as they think it is, B, it is actually very intelligent and a good idea, and C, it isn't, you're not going to get rich doing it. It's money you already have, and you are just storing it in such a way that it doesn't lose value, which is what happens with cash when the economy goes down. The value of the economy goes down, the value of your cash goes down, right? So you have to store it in a creative fashion which retains that value. And that's what we're going to go through. So, first of all is, like I say, you need to have an income to do this. You're going to have to take 50 or 100 pounds a month or some amount per month and spend it on a thing. And then you're going to have to store that thing in a safe, secure way. And what we're going to do is the thing that you're buying that's safely securing your money is not going to go down in value because it is not your currency of your country. It's like, think about back to the financial crash, the credit crunch, 2008. If you had 100 quid in your account and then Gordon Brown did quantitative easing, you still got 100 quid in your account, but now it buys less stuff because the 100 quid is still 100 quid, but it's worth 90 quid of yesterday's money, right? So it's lost 10 quid of value. Even though it's still 100, it's not going to buy you as much stuff because the value of each one of those pounds has gone down, right? That's the economy going into a decline. So now that we've got the world set up as it is, we've got Gaza, Israel, we've got Ukraine, Russia, we've got America, China, we've got Britain being invaded by jihadis, we've got unpopular governments, and we've got Houthis, and we've got all these people, pirates from Pirates of Penzance, I was going to say. No, real pirates. All this stuff's going on. And it's costing a lot of money, right? So governments are spending all their currencies, and they're going into debt. So what happens when you go into debt as a country is you borrow money, right? You borrow lots of money from another country, and when you borrow money, because your currency now has debt loaded on top of it, that causes your currency to be worth less money because it's going to have to pay back debts as well as earn money, right? So your currency drops. The currency that you borrowed goes up because it's not only worth its own economy, you're going to be paying back money, right? So it is worth more because you're going to be throwing money at it. So that means if you in a country that is the economy is going down, i.e. Europe, Britain, Australia, Canada, Japan, China, Russia, Finland, Denmark, Austria, Belgium, Germany, France, Spain, Portugal, any of these. These are all countries that the economy is sliding down, and it has been for a couple of years at least. In Europe, it's been going really badly. Britain's been going really badly. if you're in one of these countries, you can take your currency and you can use it to buy dollars from America. Because while everyone's in debt, borrowing off America, because that's the currency that they borrow money in, all the countries borrowing money off the World Bank, they're borrowing dollars. So every time they borrow a dollar, real dollar value goes up. So that means if you're smart and you don't tell anyone you've got them, or you keep them in an account, that would be my recommendation, is don't actually buy dollars physically and then bury them in your garden or something like that. You can do. I would have to do that if I did it. But if you can have an account with your bank and you just keep them in there, that's the best way to do things. And while your pounds and francs, or no, it's euros now, isn't it? When your pounds, euros and whatever is dropping in value, it still says 100. You still got 100 of them, but they're worth less. The $100 you got is going up. So that means if you take the $100 and you swap it back into pounds or euros or whatever, you're going to get more than you paid rather than less, even though your economy's gone down. Right? So the long and short of it is, buying American dollars now and waiting for like 6 months, 9 months, a year until the economy gets a lot lower than it is now here, you can resell those dollars back to the bank and you'll get almost certainly as much as you paid as a minimum, but you'll probably get a lot more than you paid per dollar. So like I say, it's not going to be huge. You're not going to make like hundreds of thousands of pounds off of trading for dollars and then selling them back, but you won't lose. This is the important bit. When the pounds lose value, so that £100 is now can only buy you sort of, 80 quid's worth of stuff from yesterday's money, dollars will be more. So when you sell those dollars back, you'll get £120 worth of stuff rather than 80. So not only did you not lose that money when the economy deflated, you gained a little bit where the American dollar went up, right? So you gain where America gained and you don't lose where Britain loses. And that's the reason why I think, although I'm not a financial advisor, right, so I want to make that clear, I am not giving you financial advice. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm not telling you it's going to make money or lose money, because it could do either one, depending on you. What I am saying is this. Our economy in Britain sucks. It just does. Look at the facts, look at the Google reports or whatever, and look at the shops, right? Shops have less products in, the quality's going down, food is physically shrinking while the cost of it's going up, while the quality is going down. That says to me, there's less money for the big rich companies, and they're charging us more. And the economy is going down, and productivity is going down, but the world cost is going up. Plus, we got defence costs, NATO, UN, EU. We're paying for tanks, bombs, guns, soldiers, parachutes. So if you want to be insulated, let's say the economy falls off a cliff like it did in 2008 during a credit crunch. If that happens again, or if there's a big world confrontation, Russia, China versus America and Europe, and it costs a lot of money, you want to have something which is not going to be rocked by that. Something which is probably going to hold value or go up. And in my opinion, US dollars is that thing, because of the fact that countries that go into debt must borrow. They have to borrow. And the currency they have to borrow is dollars. So the only currency in the entire world at the moment that is worth banking on in the future, certainly in the short-term future, is USD, American dollars. And if you're in a country where your currency is going down and is going to continue to go down, you're losing money from that every single day. I'm losing money every single day with my money being in pounds. So I have now got a USD portfolio. What that means is I have an account with USD in it, and I'm adding to it every month, right? So how that works is I wait until USD is at a low point in the week, because it goes up and down a little bit. It doesn't go up and down a lot. But the price of USD goes up and down a little bit during the week. I keep watch of it, right? And I spot when it's low. I buy 50 quid. I buy 100 quid worth of dollars, and I put that in my dollar portfolio. So what happens as the pound is shrinking, which it is, and the dollar is kind of going up and up and up a little bit, I know when I sell those dollars back, almost certainly I'm going to make money. It won't be a lot, but it will be a little bit, and I won't suffer the shrinkflation that the pound has suffered. I will have paid for that with my exchange. So that's what this video is about. It's not financial advice because I'm not qualified, and I'm not telling you you'll get rich by doing it. I'm simply saying I do this and I think it's a worthy consideration for anyone who has an income and wants to defeat shrinkflation, defeat the economy dropping, and doesn't want to lose value just because the government sucks and doesn't know what it's doing. And because it wants to get involved in every which way's war. You know, wants to pay for Ukraine, wants to pay for Palestine, wants to recognise this, wants to recognise that. Didn't ask me about it, did you, Mr. Government? If you'd have asked me, I would have said, hell no, let's not do that. Let's pay for our stuff first and make sure our economy is good. But they didn't do that. And what they did do is cost us an arm and a leg, and that's why our economy is doing this. So, summary is, the economy's doing this. I don't want to pay for it because it wasn't my decision. America's the borrowing currency. Their economy's doing this, and the more and more that people borrow, the more their value in their currency is. I am going to do this for myself and have already started, buying American dollars, storing them in an account, not too much, just a little bit, 50 quid or 100 quid every month. And when the economy here is really low and the US dollar's very, very high, I will trade them back into pounds so that I have more spending money here and I avoided paying for the government's stupid shrinkflation nasty nonsense that it does. And I think if you are smart, intelligent, have an income, maybe think about doing that yourself. And if you really want to know the ins and outs of it, you got Google, you got your bank you can go and speak to. Maybe you know a guy who is like a financial advisor. Go and get his advice before you do it. But I mean, it's fairly simple. If an idiot like me can do that, you know, and it's not like you can see, since I started making videos, I got way more money. It's not like I lose money from these things that I do. I obviously don't. So if you think this sounds like a good idea, go and get advice or, you know, educate yourself on Google about it and get started. And then you will avoid the drop-off like everyone should have avoided in 2008 if the government and the banks had warned us that our entire economy was literally going to fall off a cliff. And that's the thing to keep in mind. Financial advice from the government, from the banks, it ain't always that great, is it, guys? Because 2008, they didn't have a clue. They had no idea. And neither did we, because we were listening to them and not to ourselves. And we weren't having eyes to see and ears to hear. Today is different. Today I have eyes to see and ears to hear. And I'm not interested in listening to BBC, Reuters, Forbes, all these propagandists telling me that China's where all the money is. No, that's nonsense. America is where all the money is. Politically correct, they might not be, and they definitely aren't. But economically viable and successful, they are. So that's the end of this video. US dollars, store them up, change them into pounds when the pound is not doing so well, then you avoid costs and you make a tiny little bit of money and your spending power is solid. It doesn't go down with the economy. That's what I think we should all be doing, but I'm not a financial advisor, otherwise this video will get blocked. So that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed that and you learned something. God bless you all, and I'll see you lovely people in the next one. Bye now. Oh, and before I forget, I couldn't say this in the main video because this is the thing that I think my church were critical of. But I said my recommendation would be to store it in an account with your bank, and 99% of the time this would be true. However, if, as we see is actually happening at the moment, Russia or China cut the internet C cables, because there's only 3 of these cables that need cutting, and then the entire world loses access to its cash points and its bank machines, at that point it would be worth you having physical stores of cash notes in your house somewhere. So although it's more difficult to secure them, they are more worthwhile. So if you have a secure place, do that also. And that's basically it. So, God love you all, prayers, blessings, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.